But as of right now, nothing but a bracer, a shadow blade, and his treads, of course. But IG, honestly, they're beginning to seem like a team that is really feeling some urgency, and they should. DK is just quietly denying them any kind of an opening. I mean, you always talk about the best teams never give you openings, they never make mistakes, so on and so forth. But what we're really seeing here as a team that is excellent in their own right is being confounded at absolutely every turn, because no matter what they try to accomplish, even if they do accomplish it, going back to that gank on Burning, like you said, what did they get out of it? It's not like they slowed Burning down that much. He lost a smidgen of gold, but he made that back up pretty quickly when he was left to free farm. But that could be changing now as DK has 3 in the woods and Ferrari +1. RSVP'd for a little bit of trouble. IG moving down the lane. And we're going to have probably our first major team fight. Now, there is one missing. Super is not going to be there for this. Very important that he's not, or if he is, he may be tardy to the party. He is carrying the mechanism, but it looks like IG again going to pull back at least for a little while and regroup.
This is a really tough position for IG. How do you push into Overgrowth and Black Hole and a Clockwork when you have your two core are melee heroes, essentially? Sure, DK can ulti, but it's not really going to help you if you're stuck inside a cog. So I do feel as though DK feel a bit impregnable at the moment. That was pretty much the word I would use. And Super is actually going to see, wow, what a Shadow Blade right there from Super. Could have very easily died there.
And DK continuing to defend this bottom tower. Ferrari, now this is a concern too. Ferrari and Zoe have been spending a lot of time just wandering around right now. They can't seem to get anything accomplished, and more importantly, they haven't been farming. They haven't been absorbing much experience at all. And, you know, every moment that goes by is a little bit more time for Burning to mature, a little bit more time for that Alchemist. Hang on, we're going to have Zoe engaged upon. There's going to be a hook that catches Ferrari as well. Black Hole going to be there just catching Zoe, though. YYF actually hooked into it. Now he's in trouble. Burning with his BKB laying into Faith. He's taking a lot of damage. Will time lapse out of it, though. And we're going to see the rest of IG pulling back. Buyback out of the Lifestealer as he wants to re-engage. We're going to have the Dragon Tail on ROTK. He's blown up. Now Zoe's there, but Overgrowth slows him down. MMY dragging up the back end and will be blown up by the Visage. Ferrari now catches Burning, but not going to push it any further than that. Here we go. Super throws out an unstable concoction and nails Venge as she was waiting around the river just in range. Showing off the Shadow Blade. Super adds another one to the board, make it 8-6 now. And again, IG just feels confounded.
Not only that, but a buyback too on a Lifestealer. You do not want to have to buy back on that hero. They don't get the tower. The Treant's going to be alive shortly, which means that that mid tower is going to be back to full health in short order. They still can't go for Roshan because the Lifestealer is too low on health. There's just nothing that IG are getting here. I mean, they still have really good team fight if they can initiate properly. But what form of initiation do they really have? They have the Timber Saw, and YYF Timber Chained into a Black Hole, which is interesting, but there's not really a whole lot of ways they have to force the fight. What IG's team is meant to do is walk to the tower and force the other team to come to you. But the thing is, DK can actually do that very well, and there's not a whole lot of method that IG currently have to stop it. So right now, they're going to try to go for a Roshan. Obviously, DK know about this. We'll see if they're going to go. There's no Black Hole, though, for about 90 seconds.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point I was going to make, is if there's one thing IG can rely on, it's that QQQ is a slave to his cooldown. He is not going to be contributing a ton when that Black Hole is on cooldown, and this is the time if they want to chance it. However, they're already up. No, beautiful hook! Got everyone, and Chuan Ferrari in trouble. Black Hole caught the back end of it as well. IG just eating damage from every angle. They have to try to retreat to the high ground, and using the DK illusion to block out DK, the actual Dragon Knight illusion to block out DK's pursuit. But 9-7, and they come away once again losing the Lifestealer. And as you mentioned, that means in the last 2-3 minutes alone, he's died, bought back, and died again. And not just died, but died and gotten very little for it. The only kill given away, the Clockwork there.
And definitely a worthy trade. Poor R2K like disintegrated when he was inside of those cogs because of the Timber Chain combo. But still, IG not really able to do a whole lot. And the Lifestealer is not up for another 15 seconds. Everyone is back on the side of DK. If they want to just bait the fight, I'm pretty sure they can do so with ease.
It looks like that's what they're up to. QQQ's going to have his Black Hole in 25 seconds. We see the Chakram thrown in on Super. Here we go. They're going to engage. Beautiful Timber Chain. Does good damage. Now they're going to re-engage. YYF caught out on the high ground. And looks like he will be cleaned up. He basically just got left to die. His team just said, sorry, buddy. You went, and we weren't ready. Or something happened. Zoe up there as well. What another amazing hook out of ROTK, and this time he gets away to safety. Zoe trapped in. Will they pursue him out? They will. Unstable concoction after the rage wears off, and Burning on a killing spree in the Roche pit. The battle goes on in a black hole. Gonna get Faith. That's 4 down now for IG. Chuan can do nothing but retreat as he watches DK blow this game wide open and claim the first Aegis.
Unbelievable fights coming out of DK. Honestly, I don't know why IG decided to commit to going into the pit for the clockwork. Like, how was that worth it for them? They sent 2 people in there in a position where it was very hard to retreat, to go for somebody who essentially had nothing left. Like, he didn't have hookshot, he had already force-staffed. They go inside of the pit to suicide for an offlaner? I mean, I don't really understand that thought process, but regardless, DK looking to be in a fantastic position. Super's now got the plate mail. He's working his way towards the Assault Cuirass. The tier 2 mid is going to die, and how often this tournament have we seen a team with a DK and a Lifestealer? Their opposition still has tier 1 mid and their tier 1 safe lane still standing at 28 minutes.
Ban the tree 2013. Been telling you forever, man. Tree and Protector pretty good at keeping buildings alive. We're going to see the Blink Dagger now picked up on Enigma. QQQ's lethality going through the roof. But I'll tell you what's more important here. The transition has been made by DK. That Desolator pickup on Burning, and as you mentioned, the Alchemist has finally made that transition. He had his Shadow Blade up for a while, but now that he's beginning the tank up, that's really the 3 essential elements to a well-played Alchemist played out of that mid position. Get the mechanism up, that helps tank you a little bit, gives you survivability. Get a damage item up, which he has in the Phase Boots and in the Shadow Blade, and now just getting a general utility item that not only makes him more difficult to kill, but is going to up his damage output. However, IG, when they're going to swap Super back, and here we go. Burning's there, another good hook, going to catch YYF. Super still left alone, and he will be force-staffed out. And Ferrari going to end up dying to Burning, and Burning's not done. He's going to chase down Faith. Couple of auto attacks, a double kill, and a DD, because you know why not? When it rains, it pours. And Burning absolutely pouring it on IG here in game 1.
Ever since he picked up that Desolator, the damage output just goes through the roof. That's the one nice thing about playing Weaver against IG's lineup, is if you do get the time and you're able to get up that BKB, the Lifestealer and the DK don't have the capability of actually killing you anymore. It's pretty much impossible, and your damage output is still going to be tremendous, and they're going to find Zoe bottom.
Down at bottom, we can see Zoe caught out. He's going to try to rage through it. There's the overgrowth used. Going to try to TP away. Chakram's there, and no stun. Came very close. YYF using the Timber Chain to get himself back to safety. In the meantime, though, Burning not only finding his farm, split pushing like all hell, doing what a Weaver does and making it impossible to control your own map. But yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about. The big problem DK's lineup had was damage output once IG got up their core items. But really, IG has just been completely turned away at every opportunity. And now that transition has been made, Burning gives you the right click you need, the Alchemist giving you the right click you need, and he just split pushed down to tier 2 like it wasn't even there.
Now, once Weaver gets even 1 or 2 damage items, it becomes so difficult to deal with. And because he has the Aegis, he can split push all day. I mean, how do IG initiate on him without a Shadow Blade? And even if they kill him once, he'll just respawn and be able to run away no matter what. So IG are kind of stuck right now. I mean, what do? How do you start a fight and potentially win it against how overfarmed DK are at the moment? Earlier in the game, it was pretty consistent up until just before the 15-minute mark, and that's when DK started getting way out of control.
Zoe going to be caught with the unstable concoction. The damage is there, and he's blown up. Tier 2 not going to stand for long. Backdoor protection or not, they got this under control. Down it goes. And in a matter of minutes, every building on IG's side of the river, save for the racks and the tier 3s, has become rubble. IG trying to hold the line. Burning, willing to tank through this, has time lapse, and will certainly use it to get himself out of trouble. QQQ with that Blink Dagger up, with the BKB up. They have to be so careful in their defense here. And with DK feeling up, they're going to go ahead and engage, and that could be a great black hole if they want to go for it. There's the dust that goes off. QQQ looking for a target. We're going to see a stun on Burning and Super. Both are going to be able to get 1 kill. And really right now, it just, IG feels completely impotent. They can't even begin to take these fights. Ferrari going to be caught in the cogs. ROTK taking some damage. Burning's there as well. There's going to be a swap and a black hole. Got all 3. And gonna be the death of not just the tier 3, but our first set of racks, as DK is looking like they're ready to put a cherry on top of one of the most dominating performances. It's been a 32-minute game, but IG felt like they never had a chance, and they call it. Invictus Gaming Our defending champions falls to Team DK. More to the point, I'm not even going to say falls. They got knocked down by Team DK.
Unbelievable performance from DK. I'll be the first to admit, I thought IG's draft was pretty good. I even gave him a slight edge, but it came very apparent very quickly that IG just had an incredibly hard time moving around the map. They just couldn't find any kills, and with that kind of a strategy, we were talking about the DK hitting 6, using his ult to go for the tower. He just never had the opportunity to really do what DK does, and by that point in the game, Burning already had his BKB. The fight middle, when he got the 4-man black hole, that's pretty much where it all went south.
32 minutes, 10 seconds, the official game time, 23-9. The final kill score. DK downs the defending champions and puts them one loss away from falling to the lower bracket here at the International 2013. Let's throw it to James and company at the desk. Let them break it down.
Thank you, AC and Draskell. Yep, summed it up. 32 minutes, 10 seconds. DK are now on match point. And you've got to remember, the loser of this game will have to play again today as well. So if you're a fan of either IG or DK, you're going to get all their games today. What happened?
Just amazing play by RLTK on the clockwork, and that's really an ongoing trend throughout the tournament. We've been seeing these clockworks really pull through in their games. We saw Brax yesterday in the game LGD and won. He played an amazing clockwork. We saw S4 playing an amazing clockwork just earlier today, and now we see RLTK landing some awesome hook shots and then just Burning, cleaning up everything with his Weaver. I thought that was a spectacular performance by them coming back into the game, because I really thought IG was ahead.
Yeah, I mean, going into the series, I think it's about heads up 50-50, at least on the rare betting site, but I don't feel that DK are even close to 50-50. They look really strong going in, and QQQ with those black holes, just ridiculous.
Yeah, the black hole, the Enigma seemed to be just a huge factor into those team fights and really allowed for some of the fights that were going their way in a small way. Just worked out for him absolutely brilliantly. So it was a really nice pickup.
We saw that last year. Enigma was probably one of the most decisive heroes of the tournament last year, aside from, of course, Morphling and Naga Siren. And this year we just haven't seen the same trend. It's as if the teams has gotten more accustomed to just countering Black Hole or just straight up walking out of it. And I think DK just showed why the hero is so strong still.
Yeah, and of course the big factor, as Draskell pointed out, was also the Weaver. We can take a look at that as well. But once Burning was able to pick up his Desolator, he was huge. But overall, he was able to just clean up so quickly when the fights were from here on in. He was pretty much unstoppable. Lifestealer didn't really have a chance either.
Yeah, IG picked an early Vengeful Spirit, but they didn't get First Blood until way long. It was the longest until First Blood in this entire tournament. But when you go Vengeful Spirit, you have this very aggressive lineup with Timbersaw that gets really effective at level 6, Lifestealer very effective early, but they just weren't able to control the early game at all against DK.
Yeah, and Draskell wanted that as well. He was like, the Dragon Knight needed to do something for Invictus Gaming. They needed to use, but in the early game when he got level 6, but they weren't able to find kills. Where do you credit that? Is that credit to their opponents, DK, to not allowing the Dragon Knight to do much, or did Invictus Gaming not look hard enough for the opportunities?
I don't think they looked hard enough. They should have just brought the fights to DK, forced Enigma to do something else besides just farm. They got so many levels. Enigma is one of the best junglers if you just leave him alone, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and once he got that BKB up and going, the only thing they could really counter him with was the Vengeful Spirit, who, let's be honest, died way too early in the fight to even be a factor against the Black Hole. And I don't know, like Ben was saying, I think IG should have forced the issue much more, but it was a very hard lineup to fight against. You have the Treant and the Weaver combo, of course, and then you have a Black Hole that constantly... they were just forced into surviving through these ultimates, and if they couldn't, they would lose the fight, which happened again on the back of some great hook shots in the mid game by RLTK. I really felt he turned the tides for them.
All right, and Bruno, we're going to come back to your stats in just a moment. Is that okay?
I can live with it, I think.
We're going to give you lots of time to prepare. We're looking for big stuff.
Sounds good.
All right, yeah, so we're actually going to go to Casey, who's in the Players Lounge. So let's see what the players have to say.
Hey guys, yeah, we wanted to take you behind the scenes of a place that actually I'm not even supposed to be. This is players only, so we'll see if some of them might talk to us. This is where the players can kind of come and relax, chat with each other, and of course watch every single game and match as they're happening. They even have some signage here that everybody's been signing on their way in and out. It's really quiet in here all of a sudden, so we'll see if we can get anyone to talk to us. So again, they have food out so they can snack at will like Huitens. And this is 1437, and we asked you ahead of time if you would chat with us. You said yes.
Hi.
Did I get the numbers right on your name?
Yeah.
Okay,
You did.
awesome. So what do you think so far
I
of
think
what you just saw?
IG and DK. I think it was a really good game. DK came more prepared into the game, so I think they just had the head start from the draft already, and I think it's going to be the same thing in the next game.
I was just asked what your name means.
Oh, is that what you asked? I thought you were asking about the...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, you answered that question correctly, but someone in my ear just was curious what your name means, 1437.
1437 means I love you forever. It's just how many letters are in the word. Yeah.
I actually got that. Thank you. And are you, rumor has it that you're going to be, and tell us if we're wrong on this, you're going to be playing tonight in the one-on-one championship, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Are you Ice Ice Ice?
No.
What's your name?
I'm not.
Are you Michael?
No, they're trolling you.
Who is Excuse me a second. Hi. How's it going? That's right. You're pretty talkative, huh?
我听不懂。
James, I'm not sending it back to you yet, but there's something going on here that I'm not aware of. Can you help me out, please?
Okay.
Okay, so the person next to you,
This one?
yeah, is not very good at playing axe mid.
You got him to talk.
我还是听不懂。
I feel like I should move on, but I'm intrigued. He's like, yes, please move on. All right, duly noted. I'm going to stand up and move. Thanks, guys. There's so much trolling. I don't even know how to navigate this. Fear is here. How's it going?
Pretty good. About you?
I'm good. I'm a little bit of a fan. I've seen the documentary that a lot of people here are going to get to see on Saturday night, which is super exciting. And everybody who's watching right now, you'll get to see it in a few months. I was really impressed by what I saw. What's it like to be here and watch the tournament so far?
It's all right. It's a little boring. I'd rather play, but still, it's a lot of fun.
Any favorite teams so far?
The West, Alliance and Navi, probably.
Yeah.
Not Mike. No, sorry.
Wait, who is what? Hi. Oh, you I recognize from all the T-shirts.
I'm a big deal.
Okay, I have to send it back to James, but I've been seeing you all over the place. I need to find myself a mustache because everyone else has it.
Hi.
And sunglasses, that's right. All right, James, back to you. Please help me.
All right, thank you, Casey there, and well done, IX Mike. Malk, you giggles.
I love the guy.
The giggles. Okay, so I believe actually the game is live. I'm just going to hit watch here and see if the game is up. Yeah, game's up, and actually there's only 11 viewers in it right now, so I'm sure you guys on Dota TV are joining. So, Bruno, we'll just get anything from you if you've got something for us about the match, and then we can go straight to game number 2.
I wanted to talk. Everyone at DK played wonderfully, but in terms of stats, Weaver did amazingly well. Burning, and this could be Burning final tournament, so I wanted to highlight him a little bit. On the other side we have Zhou, one of the youngest carry players. We see Burning, how well he did right now, and I wanted to point out, if you compare Burning and Zhou, two of the top Chinese carries, Burning has in all of his years 17 games with no deaths compared to Zhou only 5 games with no deaths. And if we look at games, because Burning is famous for farming a lot, he has 11 games of more than 700 gold per minute, while Zhou only has 3 of those. Now, that's a veteran carry. That's a guy that knows what he wants. Maybe in a few years we'll see Zhou get those numbers as well. I think this is kind of like a passing of the torch between the old guy and the young guy. Can you see that? I mean, all these...
Despite the fact that Joe won the international last year?
Details.
Minor details.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're about ready, guys. You're going to stick around and watch the game. And you said, Ben, it's all about the draft, maybe?
I think they just need to play to whatever heroes they pick. Venge is an early aggression, not a, hey, let's sit around for 10 and 15 minutes and farm. I want to see them go at it with whatever lineup they may pick.
All right, well, we'll see if IG can bounce back then, as we're going to go into game number 2 between DK and Invictus Gaming. Over to the hall to the commentators.
DK versus defending champions IG.
And we're back here on the floor of beautiful Benaroya Hall. Game 2 of this best of 3 coming up, Draskell. And I'll tell you what, man, game 1, it wasn't exactly a short game, wasn't like a 20-minute stomp or anything like that. But let's be real, it never really felt like IG had a chance. From the time things started going, you saw IG moving their supports around, trying to make things happen. I'm talking 5 to 10 minutes into the laning phase, and they kept coming up short. And that was the story of the entire game for them. No matter what they tried, DK was one step ahead, and by the time we hit that 30-minute mark, it was just completely out of control. They had no chance to play their way back in.
That's just what IG's draft was based on. If they found a pick and they found a tower, it could snowball extremely fast, but they just simply never got the opportunity.
Right.
And I wanted to point out what Ben said is just stick to what your lineup is meant to do.
Right.
I think that makes a lot of sense here because even if you try to go mid and it doesn't work the first time, keep trying because even if you aren't going to find the kill, at the very least you're not just kind of sitting in your woods and just farming away while an Enigma just gets free reign of his own jungle. The Enigma is going to get more out of it than you will pretty much no matter what. So it looks like for the second game we're actually going to see the Alchemist banned out by IG and DK take a very, very quick Razor pick here in game number 2.
Seeing the Razor pick up, we've seen a lot of teams flirt with that hero all throughout the preliminary stages. We saw a lot of teams even beginning to put ban priority on him. We saw him first banned a couple of times during our preliminary matches. And a big reason behind that is almost every hero you can name that is currently popular in the current metagame, so to speak, DK, Lifestealer, all of these strength heroes, the Alchemist, for example. Razor is just an excellent answer to that. Hell, even the Lone Druid. He's one of the few heroes who can go one-on-one with the Lone Druid in an off lane or a solo lane and come out ahead. And he just gives you he basically is a walking liability. He's something the enemy team has to account for from the very, very beginning because of the power of Static Link and the fact that it goes through Magic Community.
I love the Razor pick especially because it's one of the few heroes that can do okay against OD. I mean, Lone Druid is one of the other heroes that people commonly think to put in that 1v1, but Link still goes through it, even the Astral Imprisonment anyway, and it costs essentially no mana, which is a pretty big deal. Even at rank 4, I think it's like 50 mana to cast, and if you just buy a wand, you're going to be able to use it most of the time, as long as you time it properly. So we'll see how that matchup ends up, if it ends up happening. That was a weird sentence, but IG, they start off with 2 heroes that they're either going to be putting in the farm role. On the Weaver, of course, the OD is most likely going to be mid. DK leave themselves a little bit open. We actually haven't seen a Lifestealer ban just yet, which I find a little bit strange. IG probably weren't going to pick it after seeing the Razor regardless, because Razor is very good against Lifestealers. So a lot of opportunities for both teams still. I do think, personally for me, this is the first time I've gotten to see OD on the main stage. Or is it actually just the first game he's been picked?
I want to say it's the first he's been picked. Something like that. Either way, getting to see the hero here on the main stage, we're going to, and this is where it matters the most. OD's such an individual, skill kind of eccentric hero, understanding the matchups and so on and so forth. Like you said, the fact that Razor is in the mix, though, that's going to be, that's where we're probably going to end up watching or having our camera planted most of the time to watch that matchup there in mid. We can see the bans continuing to go out, not going to allow Invictus to use the same combination they did. DK takes out the tree, and of course, Anti-Mage and Spectre, as well as the Alchemist taken out by Invictus Gaming, trying to limit Super and Burning in their options of preferred heroes.
Well, AM is actually really good against IG's lineup already, just based on sheer mobility. Once he gets the BKB, OD becomes like a mana bomb, essentially, because he has so much mana because of his passive and the way that he builds, that if you end up ever catching him out, it's very, very hard to deal with him. So for right now, DK still have the opportunity to go aggressive. They have a Visage. They can even choose to pick the Lifestealer soon if they want to, because it hasn't been banned out just yet. Of course, the ball is in their court right now in that situation. But for IG, their lanes are actually pretty wide open as well. Like I said, there's only really one matchup that we can see right now, and that's probably going to be the Razor versus OD. And that's assuming that they don't want to give or pick a Lone Druid up for that. And it looks like we're going to see a Tinker ban actually coming out from DK.
Yeah, the Tinker ban, very interesting, a map control kind of a hero. And you see a ban like that, you don't want to read too much into it because it's so hard. I mean, there's so many things a hero like that can give an enemy team. But seeing them ban it out, you have to wonder. It's like, okay, you have a Visage, you have a Razor. These are 2 heroes. Razor, you just want to build tanky because he's going to get his damage via Static Link if he's played correctly. And then now they're going to grab a Rubik. So as of yet, not really revealing their main damage dealers, at least in the mid and late game. Razor can do some pretty decent damage with Plasma Field. Visage, of course, with Soul Assumption, going to give you some single target magical DPS. Rubik, the jack of all trades, really fits into any lineup. Invictus Gaming, though, with their 3rd pick coming up. And both of these teams, this is just feels like a very guarded draft to me. It seems like both teams certainly working towards something, just very hard to unveil what that is based on what we see right now.
At DK, though, by picking up the Rubik, I like this because especially against a Weaver, you can tell that DK have the experience. They were showing the stats. Burning's played Weaver multiple times during this tournament. And when you pick a Rubik, you can steal Shukuchi, you can use it as an initiation tool, and it allows you to get in and out of fights basically unscathed. What problem they had last game is that once Burning got a second item, the supports just fell prey to getting chased down. I mean, what did they do? They have no way of escaping. Whereas if you can steal Shukuchi on Rubik, you are not an easy target anymore.
Oh, no.
You are very elusive, you're hard to get a hold of, and plus you can go in, you can start the fight on somebody like Weaver, maybe look to burst following up with a Visage, and then you can go from there. So I do like that quite a bit from DK. IG's answer is going to be a Naga Siren, probably going to be a support given the fact that they already have a Weaver and the OD, but of course the Weaver could go in a 1v1 role and they could just start forming their tri-lane right now. But we'll have to see what DK pick, I think, before IG decide what they're going to.
I just want to point out, how long has it been in any competitive match that you've seen it go this late? We're coming down to our 4th position picks. Lifestealer and Dragon Knight both, and say in the last 2 or 3 weeks, how long has it been since you've seen those heroes make it this deep without being picked or banned? But as you mentioned, it makes a ton of sense. We're going to get to see Enigma again. A hero again, as Melk was telling us whenever he was looking back at last year, that one of the most impactful heroes in the entire hero pool. Then he just kind of fell off. A lot of his jobs, a lot of what he gives you, were just kind of popularized on other heroes. Puck is a good example. Magnus certainly. Magnus had his heyday for a long time until recently the changes to bottle crowing, and he kind of fell off with all but a few teams. But Enigma, of course, that big game-changing ultimate. But DK, again, they certainly made it work last time. But this time, again, the damage has got to be a big concern. They're going to have some kind of a heavy hitter, some kind of an AoE nuker, something like that to round out their lineup. Otherwise, I just feel like they're going to be very thin against the team that has a Naga Siren, no less. So even if they do get the advantage, so unless they catch Naga with one of the, and in terms of stuns, what do they have? They have Telekinesis, they have Black Hole, they have Malefice. They're excellent. Other than that, right now, granted, Invictus Gaming doesn't have that many either, but they do have the Naga. So in terms of disabling and getting into fights and getting an advantage, Naga Siren is going to have to be a priority target. And if she plays positioned, if she positions herself appropriately, DK could find themselves in a position where it's really difficult to execute the game plan they want to execute.
Well, I'm not sure if I agree with the lacking damage right now, because unlike last game, there's a Rubik with a Fade Bolt, Plasma Field, you can Static Link, and then Soul Assumption. The combination of Razor Nuke, a Rubik, Fade Bolt, and Visage is actually quite a huge chunk of damage. You can easily pick a support, and because the Naga Siren is going to be support, the song is going to be coming in a little bit later than normal. So even with a level 1 song, it's a 3-minute cooldown. So you better be really sure that you want to use that song if you end up doing it. And the other thing, too, is after the Enigma pick, the Rubik was kind of like a buffer to pick that hero, where normally I think that IG would have very easily been able to fit Rubik into their lineup. It makes it so when you pick the Enigma, you don't just counterpick straight away. And Vengeful Spirit, as good as Swap is against Black Hole, it did not do anything for IG in the last game. Let's be honest. I mean, that Vengeful Spirit couldn't even get in range to stop the Black Hole if she wanted to because of how scary DK's lineup is. And I kind of feel like it's the same way this time. How do you walk into the kind of lineup that DK has? Of course, they're not going to have Tree this time, but they have a lot of AoE spam abilities. They have Midnight Pulse, and then they have Visage who can help burst. So DK for Game 2, they're picking kind of a similar style to what they did before, but this time it has a little bit more burst potential. The only question is, who is actually going to be making the mech on their team right now? Because with 2 supports and a Razor, it looks like this Enigma is going to either be sacking his lane completely or be forced into a 1v1.
Waiting to see our farming pickup. Certainly Burning, the one most likely lacking his hero right now. We will see the Bounty Hunter banned out by DK, anticipating Invictus Gaming wanted to play a very aggressive style, and certainly the Bounty ban suits with that. Looking at IG's lineup, though, again, whenever it just comes down to damage output, Weaver and OD both going to be helped by Vengeance Aura coming off of Vengeful Spirit. And OD, again, one of those heroes who is very, very happy until people begin to build BKBs. Right now, both Razor and Enigma are 2 heroes who can very viably build a BKB. And Razor in particular going to be looking to latch on to most likely the OD above the Weaver. But, usually a 4-staff considered a core item on the OD for exactly that reason. He's a hero that doesn't have any innate mobility, but certainly wants it. He wants to have access to it to keep himself alive, especially against, as you said, a bursty kind of a team. Not a lot of sustain unless Razor's able to sap a lot of damage, but still waiting to see what hero Burning's likely to land himself on.
There's a couple of choices here, but they've banned out pretty much 3 heroes that he loves to play, the AM, the Spectre, the Gyrocopters. So not going to have access to any of those. But for IG, I'm a little bit more curious as to what their game plan is. I mean, you have a Naga Siren support, you have a Vengeful Spirit, 2 heroes that aren't really spectacular laners in the early game. The one nice thing this game, though, for IG is that if they do end up going in a passive lane, while the